welcome back. And I don't mean to the people listening, I mean to Adam. Welcome back to
Thank
Earth.
you. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that.
To this time and this planet.
Yeah, not
Not jealous at all.
not a galaxy far, far away and a long time ago.
Yeah, where you were
Where
last
I was.
week.
Last week, I was taking a trip to Disney.
World in Florida.
Disney World in Florida. And we had limited time, me and my wife, so we figured going on like a fun, interesting Disney experience that we haven't been on before would be, comparable to having to fly somewhere and, spend just a day somewhere and then fly back. We could spend a couple of days, in Disney and have some fun. So what we did is we did a little research and we went to Galaxy's Edge at Disney's Hollywood Studios here in Orlando, Florida, which is not really Orlando. Like, it's pseudo Orlando. I think it's actually...
Kissimmee or something?
No, it's like not Lake Mary. It begins with an M. Like
One of the surround. For those of you that don't know, there's Orlando and there's a bunch of cities around Orlando
leeching off of Orlando
that are just called Orlando.
Yeah, they're referred to as Orlando. They're clearly not, and it's like Marion County or Orange County, and there's like Lake Mary. It's not there's West something.
So you were over there.
Yeah, over there. And so we did a lot of research on this Star Wars land because we've been to Hollywood Studios before, and we knew that there was a lot of like interesting themes and ideas going to this place, and they're trying to make this experience for Star Wars fans much different than the rest of the park. Like, step one is there's no music. So it's more immersive of like you hear jungle sounds and then you hear like marketplace noises and you hear starships flying over the area, and realistically sounding too. Like, they hit hard, like they're like it'll stop you and you're like in mid conversation and be like, whoa, what was that? But they have a lot of like stuff from the movies, like in Disneyland and Disney World and whatever. They have character meets where it's a place and it's kind of like a ride. You stand in line 30 minutes to go meet Jasmine, Snow White, Cinderella, Ariel, whoever.
Take pictures and stuff.
Yeah, you take pictures. They sign your autograph book because Disney sells an autograph book for the collect them all kind of a thing. And then you go, you kind of bounce around. This is very different. There's some places where you can kind of stumble upon some of the main characters, like Chewbacca, Rey, Stormtroopers, Kylo Ren. But they're mostly walking around the park with like an agenda, like they're going to do something, and like they'll stop and take a picture, but like you can't really get them to do an autograph, or like they also, like when they're walking around, like they get swarmed a little bit, they're like, oh, Chewbacca, Chewie, and everybody's calling out, and he's like, and then he keeps moving. But it's
a little more organic.
It's more organic. There's a different way of talking. Everyone says bright suns, rising moon. Bright suns is morning and afternoon greetings for hello. Rising moons is goodbye. Till the spires is rising moons is good evening. Till the spire is goodbye. Lots of different and interesting, like all money is referred to as galactic credits. It's not referred to as dollars and cents or Disney dollars or whatever. Mm-hmm. They have everyone's dressed the part, and here's the thing that me and my wife did: we dressed the part too. There's a whole thing online where they talk about like appropriate ways to wear outfits and costumes and whatever. Like, they don't want you wearing any helmets or masks. Like, they don't want your face obscured. Hats and stuff are fine, but like they don't want you doing like hoods and robes, like long, heavy. They want to see it really turns into a security thing.
Yeah,
But
that
like,
makes sense.
but like, if you want to go dressed kind of like someone that lives in the Star Wars universe, they encourage it. So,
If you wanted to wear, so because we talked about this before you went, and you said something like, it seems like they didn't want you to look too authentic.
they don't want you to look so you can. There's a couple of ways of doing it. They have a guide, and maybe we'll link this in our description of our video,
Yeah,
like
we can do
to
that.
Disney's website, where it's like anything super military, like hard military uniforms, pilot jumpsuits with the helmets and the thing. Extreme likenesses to characters, so like you 100% look like Han Solo.
Yeah,
or-
that was going to be my question. Like, if you bought Han's jacket or Poe's jacket and had the exact look,
Yeah.
right? Like you're cosplaying as, that's no good.
No, that's no good.
Okay.
So they don't want you to look exactly like a particular character, because they don't want people stopping and taking pictures with you, because they don't want the idea that you work for Disney. They don't want that feeling of, hey, that we have to throw you out because you're taking away our business, or you might be providing a non-Disney experience, like posing as an officer of Disney or whatever.
Yeah, and that's also security, so that makes sense.
Yeah, because
they probably have a ton of employees.
So like, yeah, because like if you have an employee, they've been of Disney, they've been vetted, they've had a background check. I don't know if you know this, but like you have to reapply for a job as a Disney princess like every 6 months. Like
I did not know that. But
so like if you've got that job, like you have to have you not only first do you get hired as that position and you go through princess school, but like you have to learn how to sign the signature, like using the appropriate hand, so that like everyone signs the same way, because you don't want your 8-year-old to go and get Cinderella's signature, and then like she's 14 and she goes and gets Cinderella's signature again, and then they're different.
yeah,
Like it's Disney says no. But like, yeah, it's a security thing. They've been vetted, they've been trained, they've got experience, and then like you've got some yokel who comes in dressed like Han Solo, and he's like
Smoking.
he's like smoking, and then inappropriately touching himself in the bathroom in front of, like, it turns into an issue, like, so it ruins the image
yeah,
of what's going
and
on.
it also
Also, Han Solo's dead at the point in time when this park is taking place.
if y'all don't know that,
Spoiler.
if you don't know that, I can't help you. You saw what this was.
Yeah, so
Well, but at the same time, my Disney fanboy is going to kind of be an apologist for people who don't like that they can't cosplay. This also
it
promotes creativity in a way.
Yeah.
It lets you be part of the world without just being, the cosplay guy.
Yeah.
You know?
And then, but they also have like policies of like, hey, no guns, no weapons, no battle axes or whatever. However, they'll let you carry around a lightsaber hilt, or, because they sell those in the park. So you can do that. But like, there's no weapons, there's no holsters, no guns, no, like, they don't want anything that looks like something they have to vet as like, oh, someone brought a assault rifle into here.
Well, we'll get to more of this in a little bit, but for the lightsabers that they sell and the lightsabers that you can purchase, there's a finite combination of them, right? So they probably know what those look like.
Yeah.
So if you had something that was like, a lightsaber hilt that had some sort of weapon inside it, they could tell if it's, hey, this is the lightsaber you bought here.
Yeah.
And here's a hilt that's from somewhere else.
Right.
Some other.
Yeah,
whatever.
and a lot of stuff that's like big in metal, like they still go through the metal detectors. They still go through, a bag inspection. They still like look at all the heavy stuff you bring in, and they're like, "Hey, what is this?" And then there's like one guy that's in a security outpost, going by all the lines, who's like the guy that they're like, "Hey, is this cool?" And then they're like, "Yeah, it's cool," or "No, it's not cool," or whatever. So, caveat, is that like they don't want people bringing in, going overboard. And even then with costumes, like you can do an inspired like look. They like you can do like a Han Solo outfit and then but they want you to do 70% Han Solo and then like 30% something else so that it's not
throw your own flair into it.
Yeah, so like change out the pants, change out the vest, different boots, something that's like non 100%, movie accurate or whatever. But
don't be Caucasian.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. So like my wife and I went and we dressed the part. We had a resistance day where we kind of looked, kind of more, resistance-esque. We lots of tan and earth tones and, like not combat boots, but like work boots. And I had like a backpack that slings over one shoulder that was like canvas. And I actually brought that bag here. Like it's got, we put some writing on it. It's got a couple patches. Like it's a brown zipper bag. There's lots of buckles and stuff. It looks very organic.
And you got the patches there, right?
We got the patches there because I knew they sold other memorabilia, and it's like, hey, it's like going on, getting one of those giant suitcases, a la It's a Wonderful Life. And he's like, I want a big one with stickers from Bombay and whatever. Like, he wants to put a lot of stickers on his suitcase. So, like, it's kind of our same idea.
I'm not looking directly at it right now, but I remember you had a Rebel insignia and the Jedi Order.
Right. We had the old Jedi Order. And then we had a Rebel insignia. It's more of a Resistance insignia. It's actually the exact same patch that Poe has on his jacket in The Last Jedi. So it's that same patch on his shoulder or whatever. But, like, we put some patches on there. We put some writing in the Star Wars language, which is known as Arabesh. We wrote some. Mine says, I'm going on an adventure. A la Bilbo Baggins from The Hobbit. My wife's wrote on hers, it says, I am one with the Force, a la her favorite character and favorite movie, which is Rogue One. She also put the Rogue One. It's similar to the Rebel insignia, but it's the Rogue One insignia, which has got like a little more flair in it. Mm-hmm. So she did that, and we went out and had a great time. Like, I did more of a Poe Dameron kind of inspired look. She did a more of a Leia. She had hair buns and stuff, and then an inspired look. But like, we weren't movie accurate. We were just like, we got a lot of our stuff from like thrift stores too. So like, we did like low budget purchasing of some stuff. The stuff that cost us the most, I think, were the bags and not even shoes. Like, my wife got a pair of shoes at Walmart for like, they were like nice, like leather looking brown boots for like $5.
I'm gonna tell you something. When the most expensive thing that you bought is clothing from Walmart, then you know you were
we were doing it on a budget. Yeah,
you were saving up for
other stuff,
for other things that I see on this table.
Yeah. But the whole thing was researched before we went there, and there's 2 rides in Star Wars Land. One of them is Rise of the Resistance, which is brand new. It came out in December, and there's actually not a line. Like, you can't get in line for this ride. Like, it's not an option yet.
So no fast pass.
There's no fast pass. Nothing. There's no standby line. There's no nothing. There's a standby for the Millennium Falcon, which is the other one. It's called Smuggler's Run Millennium Falcon, or Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, and then the other one's Rise of the Resistance. So in researching this, knowing that they have this unique system of getting onto this ride early in the morning, is you have to show up at rope drop, which at rope drop means they pop, they cut the rope and allow the masses to enter the park and do what they need to do. But the thing about it is, this ride fills up in under a minute. Like, the whole queue for the entire day is done in under a minute. So you have to go through the Disney app to load in, to like get a chance to get into this thing. So the part of it is you have to be in the park at the time when rope drop happens. So like, you have to have already purchased your ticket, be there at opening. They let you scan your ticket and then get into like that starting area, like Main Street area. And then once you're there, then then you can get into the app, and the app knows that you're in the park, and then you can sign up for getting into Rise of the Resistance. And they on the app it says they guarantee a maximum of 60 boarding groups. They call them boarding groups per day. And then they have backup boarding groups that go up to like 150.
How many is in a boarding group?
About 24 people. So it's not a lot.
Okay. I'm just thinking of how many people go to Disney, how many people go to Hollywood Studios in a day, and how many people visit Galaxy's Edge because it's new, and you have that's not a lot.
That's not a lot of people, right? So we got up at 4:30 in the morning, got dressed in our outfits, got to the park, got into the park, and then my wife, God bless her, she was amazing. She figured out this system, which we're not going to divulge here because we did our research. You can do your own research.
Yeah.
We got into boarding group 2 on day 1, and then boarding group 10 on day 2. So we were guaranteed, and we were like some of the first people called too. Like we got in like that. It was amazing. So, and me and my wife both discussed like, hey, if we go to this ride and it's not worth getting up at 4:30 in the morning, we're not going to do it. But oh my God, it's so worth it. This ride, first of all, walking into Galaxy's Edge at rope drop at crack of dawn in the morning, like the sun is just coming up, it's still like hazy out, and you're walking in and you're hearing sounds and you're seeing X-wings and A-wings parked on the side, like, you know, with pilots and stuff climbing around.
Because the Galaxy doesn't sleep.
The Galaxy doesn't sleep. You know, they're fighting a war out there. And it's not only like this amazing kind of thing to do, but like it's a religious experience. For a lack of a better, like it's like going on a pilgrimage to a holy site. It's the best thing I can really describe it as.
I can't really think of any other IP, maybe Star Trek, that has that much, like, you know, Harry Potter is fairly recent. Very recent. Right? So there are people that are diehard Harry Potter fans, and going to Universal and going to the Harry Potter park, the Wizarding World there is
the Wizarding
probably,
World of Harry Potter, yeah.
You know, and I would say Star Trek, yes. Lord of the Rings.
But you got to go to New Zealand. There's nothing in the States for that.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, if there was a Lord of the Rings park, I assume for people who are diehard Tolkien fans, that would be. But there is very little. I mean, because Jedi is basically, you know, like, I don't think there's anything to compare with being able to walk into a Star Wars experience.
I can't think of anything, because I've been to the Harry Potter land, and I'm a Harry Potter fan, but I'm not a fanatic. Mm-hmm. Like, I enjoy the movies. I've never read the books. I enjoy some of the little stuff that goes along with them. I have a wand or two, you know. But it didn't have this same shock and awe of it. Like, not in a negative. Shock and awe is like kind of could have a negative connotation. I'm trying to say a more positive word, but like it's positively jarring. Like, I don't know how else to say it. Yes, exactly. And then
as the happy mask
salesman strikes again. So
nods in ascension.
And so we'll start off with this ride. This Rise of the Resistance ride is I've been to a lot of theme parks, roller coasters, whatever. Is hands down the best theme park ride I have ever been on in my entire life. When I'm a 30-some-year-old dude, like, I've been on some stuff. Like, the only thing I can really could possibly compare it to would be the Spider-Man ride at Universal. That's the only thing that's close, but it's not the same. There's
How about the Back to the? Well, didn't the Spider-Man ride used to be the Back to the Future ride?
no, there's the Simpsons ride that used to be the Back to the Future ride.
Okay.
And then Harry Potter used to be where Jaws is. No, that's not a thing anymore. Anyway, so but like it's multifaceted. There's actors, like live actors that are walking around and like making sure everything's going according to plan. Like there's multiple parts, like you get on one ride and it turns into another ride, and then like you're moving around, and then you're talking to stormtroopers, you're talking to first order officers, you're running, escaping, there's explosions, there's like a lot of intense stuff, and it's the whole thing is brilliant. And the other, like some of the other stuff that I learned about it is like this ride is not on a track. There's no like rail for this thing to be on. It's you get into this, like one of the parts of the ride is you get into this cart, and for lack of a better term, it's remote controlled by a computer, a droid, one could say. and there, so like you're moving around. There's not a lot of that jarring movement of like being on a track and stuff. The ride is impressive in the way that like you get into like two different carts, like the group that you're on splits into two different parts, and then like one half of your group will go one way and the other half will go another way, and they're different experiences. And so like you kind of have to ride it twice on both different times to see it the same way. It's so cool. And then like once the ride's done, you're like, it was a satisfying conclusion to a ride. It was so good. So I hands off to Disney, the Imagineers, the people that did all that. It was so impressive. So
impressive. Like, give me a little more specific. Like, I know
I'm trying to not ruin stuff.
Yeah, without, and that's why I'm trying to tailor my question in such a way that I don't want us like, it's immersive, obviously, but does it make you feel like you're watching what's happening, or are you a participant in the?
There's a little bit of watching. Like, because they can't have you do any like direct interaction because there's a number of screens and animatronics that you're dealing with, and they got the actors, the guy that plays Hux, he's in it. Adam Driver, who plays Kylo Ren, he's in it. Daisy Ridley, he's in it, or she's in it.
Don't write emails.
I apologize. BB-8's there. BB-8's an animatronic. But like Poe's there, he's on a screen. Nime Nub, he's there. He's an animatronic and on a screen. So like they're talking to you, but like to give kind of like a description of what happens. You are in a resistance base, and the First Order may or may not know that you're there, but they're taking no chances, and you're evacuating. And you get on a ship and you leave, and then like you're captured and
stuff happens.
So, but like when you're going from place to place and moving around, there's live people that are actors that are there talking to you in character. And so like you get a first order officer who's like moving you to an interrogation room, who's talking down to you, and like some of the people that are in line are like looking at stuff and they're like, oh look, this is like, look at the cool stuff, and they touch the wall and then they scream at you like, if you're going to touch the walls, then you might as well be cleaning them. Like wow. Like,
all right,
like it's like very immersive. Like when we first got into the particular section of the ride, and I'm like, oh look, we're standing near the trash can, because there's a legit trash can, like a little push in and then you can drop trash, like your cans, whatever. And they're like, yeah, it's not big enough for you to escape through. So, like, we don't suggest doing it. You'll get stuck, and then you're going to be right back here, going to interrogation and whatnot. So, it's a fun, like, everyone's kind of in on the jokes, and I'm sure they're, like, all briefed in, like, how to talk to people. And there's only so many responses like the average person can give them. Like, you got to go in there with some like choice A material to stump some of these people. I'm sure some of them are like stand-up comedians or like people that have been on stage and they know how to deal with a heckler, kind of a thing. Like, I got that feeling from them. They're like, oh, we've been around and seen some stuff. Like, we know how to deal with it. But it was still super super fun to do. Like, I had a great time doing it, so it was worth every second of it. It was worth. Then that's the thing. Like, I'm not a morning person, but it was worth getting up at 4:30 in the morning and going and standing in line until 8 when the park actually opens to try and get a chance to be on this ride.
There are behind the scenes reasons that I will not go into right now, for which I'm giving Adam the side eye. But I do agree that you are not a morning person.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's one of two main rides that are there, and then the second one is Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. And if there's another like fanboy moment that you can experience, climbing inside the Millennium Falcon and sitting down and in front of it, like in the cockpit, and pressing buttons and switch. Like, there's a ton of buttons and switches that all work. They all flip, and they're like those satisfying buttons to push. They make a click sound when you press them, or like a switch. You flip it and it's like a little hard, but like you flip it and it goes, kind of a thing. Like, satisfying clicks. But like, you go in and the whole idea is that you're being hired as, a flight crew to do some legitimate transportation for Hondo Ohnaka of Clone Wars fame. And he's got a business called Ohnaka Transports and Ohnaka Transport Solutions. And okay. you're doing like a little run for to deliver cargo for him. And then like once you get in, you're like, oh no, we're gonna go steal some coaxium from Corellia, and you're gonna fly it. And it's like there's buttons, and like there's three positions. There's pilot, engineer, and gunner. And like, me and my wife both did pilot and engineer multiple times. We never got gunner because, first of all, pilot is amazing, and an engineer is like, you're the responsible one, because like, as the ship gets busted up, like it's going to, because you have people piloting it that have no business piloting something that big, like bang it into walls and off rocks and stuff. Like, you're responsible for like making sure the shields are up and angled, and like, that kind of a thing. And the gunners just smash a button to fire shots at TIE fighters and stuff. Next time we go back, we're gonna make sure we get gunner. But pilot is hands down the best job in that thing. There's a left pilot and a right pilot. Left pilot goes left and right. Right pilot goes up and down. So Han is left and right. Chewie's up and down. And Chewie is also responsible for landing and takeoff, and pulling that satisfying lever to jump to hyperdrive.
Oh.
That hyperspace lever.
Yes.
So pulling that lever is the important part. But like, the left pilot has an all important job of left and right, and resetting. What were you were resetting something, and then also brake. You're in charge of the brake. So. Okay. There's a very integral part where, like, the first time when I'm flying it, and I'm flying Han and my wife is flying Chewie, like, you get over the intercom, Hondo tells you, brake, left pilot, brake. And then, like, you don't have time to, like, look for what the button to brake is. It's a red button that lights up to brake, and you got to smash that. So the first time I missed it and ran head on into the thing that we were doing. And the second time I was like, okay, I'm looking for this button. Like, I'll wait for the part where it comes up. So we got pilot twice, and we were waiting for that part to come up. And I saw this red button light up, and I smashed that button, and we stopped, and like, it was so satisfying to not crash. Because like when you crash, like all the lights go off, your score counter goes down. Oh yeah, there's a score to this. Like they score it and like how much money you make, because the more damage you do to the Falcon,
Like Crazy Taxi?
kind of, yeah. Like the more damage you do to the Falcon, the less you get paid because they got to repair everything. But like that was when we were piloting the second time. That was our best run. We made a. You can make a possible total of 13,000 credits or something like that, minus repairs and expenses and whatnot. And we walked away with 11,000.
Nice.
So yeah, and all of this. Another beautiful, amazing integrated part that Disney has done to this is they have a Disney Parks Play app. And if you log the app in, and when you're in Galaxy's Edge, you can go to Datapad, and then you can do stuff around the park, like while you're waiting in line. Like there's games to play, and like, you know, the obligatory containers that are all around the place. Like they all have like little barcodes and stuff on them. You can scan the barcodes, and they tell you what's in them, and you can add them to your inventory, and like do stuff for smugglers, do stuff for the Resistance, do stuff for the First Order, and make virtual money.
So
for
there's
it.
like an AR thing to this.
Yeah, there's an augmented reality thing for it. You can, you know, play the hacker part, and you can hack things around. Like you can hack stuff like antennas, and I highly suggest hacking the water fountain that's in the marketplace, because there's a bunch of these like weird containers containing this like weird clearish dark liquid. But like if you use the app and you hack the container, a Dianoga a la the garbage monster from episode 4 comes up out of the water, and it's like, oh, you're drinking Dianoga water. Like it's this gross black water, but like you're getting real water. Like it's just a, you know, fan service kind of thing. But like you can hack it, and it'll do things like it'll unlock doors or light up signs or light walkways, or like you'll get, you know, you can hack Kylo Ren's tie echelon, and then get it to make sounds and do stuff. Like you can do stuff. You can hack droids around, and then you get them to like beep and boop at you and turn their heads, and you can get them to do stuff. It's a lot of fun. So like it's an interesting part to do in line, but like we also just walking around and experiencing things. When we originally set our plan to go to Galaxy's Edge, I had a level of expectation. I was like, look, Rise of the Resistance is going to be hard to get into. I'm okay with missing it if it happens. But like things I want to do is pilot the Millennium Falcon, be in the Millennium Falcon is, you know, but like that high end of it would be piloting it, which I got to do. Go to the cantina, which is another amazing experience. Build a droid, build a lightsaber, and then just sample some of the food. Like I had like five or six things like on my list of like stuff to do, like numbered in order of like most important to least important, and we got to do all of it. It took some planning, but like we got to do everything.
I'm sure there are channels, like YouTube channels out there that give you all the tips for how to. This isn't one of them.
This I'll tell you some spot ones. If you want like kind of a guide to like getting access to like what to do, Disney Food Blog. It's more than just food, but they also rate, like a lot of it's about food. But like they'll talk to you about like where to go and what to do and what to expect and how to get into lines and how to, you know, order special stuff, and like they rate restaurants and all that kind of stuff. That was our primary thing for getting information for this. Our second one was like our style guide, and hats off to Ash and Brian, who live in California, but they have a YouTube channel as well, called it's Always Believe. So Always Believe has not only a style guide, but they have like lists on how to do things and how to enter the park, and they do a thing called Disney bounding, which is like dressing up in costume-esque, but like kind of going in theme of characters and stuff. They went as the child from Mandalorian one time. They most recently, I think they went for the release of Clone Wars on Disney Plus, they went as Anakin and Padme, but like not full on Anakin and Padme, but like, you know, themed around those kinds of outfits and stuff. So they came across like really good. They gave us some excellent tips. They've got an excellent video. They've got a website which was like, hey, if you want like ideas for stuff, like here's a link to a bunch of stuff on Amazon for like belts and vests and shirts and pants and boots and then like boots and pants and boots and pants and stuff to like kind of get. So they were great for that. And then another one that we were watching was Ordinary Adventures, and they're also in California. But they were going through and they were doing a lot of like products and promos, and I guess the guy who's in charge of that one is also like a news reporter, so he got a lot of access to like press events and stuff like that, so he could give, you know, reviews on stuff before they came out and whatnot. But he got, you know, great reviews for certain things that he was doing and talking about, and gave a lot of like really good information on like getting into the park and getting onto Rise of the Resistance, and, you know, where to go and what to do and how to talk to people.
Okay.
So, those were our three main research points. But like, they were also kind of just fun videos to watch. It's people going out and having fun, just, you know, laughing and being goofy, like in a galaxy far, far away. It was fun. So, but yeah.
Overall, all right. So, Rise of the Resistance. About how long was it as a ride?
As a ride?
Yeah.
Because it's in sections. Like, I would probably say it's about 15 minutes altogether.
That's pretty...
20 minutes altogether.
Okay,
but
that's
like,
pretty good.
There's one ride, and then there's like a second part where there's kind of like a little mini line, and then you're on a ride again. So
Okay.
I'm counting that part where the little mini ride, the mini line is probably like 5 minutes. If you're talking about total ride time, you're probably looking at like 10 minutes.
All right. And then how about Smuggler's Run?
Smuggler's Run is probably like an 8-minute ride, but it's a busy 8 to 10 minutes. It's a busy 8 to 10 minutes. Like, you're moving, like stuff is happening on out the cockpit, and you're pushing buttons and pulling levers, and
so
like you have to pay attention too, because it affects your score. Everyone's got to work. You have to walk in there with like a crew of 6 to like handle this thing properly, because like if you want like the best score, like everyone's got to pay attention. Like, it's best if you've kind of probably done it before, and if you haven't done it before, like maybe do it, you know, like be kind of a video game person and kind of know what you're doing. But like, you will have a great time regardless. But it's super fun. The whole thing is super fun.
So about 10 minutes apiece, and Smuggler's Run has 10 minutes. That seems like more.
It seemed like it's a fast 10 minutes. Like, you're doing and moving and pulling levers and piloting and swinging back and forth. So I would say it's about 10 minutes, but like, you're engaged that whole time. So it seems a lot shorter.
Okay. And then there's toys.
There's toys.
I don't want to call it toys. That's almost cheapening it. There are relics.
It's derogatory as well.
It's not really toys. I apologize wholeheartedly, because I'm looking at them and I'm like, this is fucking awesome.
They're not. It's not a doll. It's an action figure.
It's not even like, this wouldn't even.
No, none of these are like.
This is some primo shit.
Yeah. So the first thing I'll talk about is like, when we got into Rise of the Resistance the first time, we had to make a choice. And what we ended up doing is we ended up talking to a cast member, because they're not, you know, employees, they're cast members. They're all part of the Disney experience. But we ended up talking to a citizen of Batu cast member, and we were like, hey, we have a reservation for Savi's workshop, which is lightsaber building, at 8:50. And we have our Rise of the Resistance, like, right now. Like, we're boarding group 2, we're being called, like, what do we do? And they're like, well, you had to pre-order this. Like, this was a queue. Like, you can't walk up and build a lightsaber. You have to have a reservation placed in advance. And my wife was amazing at this, because we each got a reservation, not at the same time on the same day, but like, we had to get a reservation for building a lightsaber, and what she had to do is go through the Disney Parks app and just continue to check to see if a spot opened up, because when we first booked our tickets, there were no spots available. So I was just going to reserve my spot and be like, reserve my place of like, that might be a thing I won't be able to do, but my wife made sure I could do it. And so she's a loving, caring, wonderful wife, making sure that I can have everything I ever want. And I mean that in the most sincere and positive way. Like, I don't mean it, if it came across different, I don't. I was wholly impressed with the amount of love and effort she put into this, to making sure our vacation was the best it could be.
That's awesome.
It is. So they were like, hey, you had to put a credit card on file. Like, hey, this is, if you don't make it to your appointment, they're going to charge you $100. Like, they're like, it's a thing. So like, hey, we'll make sure and talk to other people. Like, if you don't get to Rise of the Resistance, we'll make sure your spot is held. And as soon as you clear this, you'll go to that. But they're like, it shouldn't be an issue. Once you get your boarding group listed as being called, you have 2 hours to get there. So the build a lightsaber experience is about 20 to 25 minutes, and you should be good. And I'm like, okay. So we went and we built a lightsaber, and there's 4 themes to choose from. I'm not going to go into all of them, but like, I chose power and control, which is a little more dark side or whatever. But like, I wanted to be like a powerful, clean look, because that's what it looked like to me, like a strong, blacks and silvers and stuff in it kind of a look, and not so much a flashy kind of a thing.
It has a lot of thematic it has a thematic resemblance to Darth Vader's lightsaber, looking at it.
Yeah.
Like,
it does.
It's not going to, if you told somebody, hey, I bought Darth Vader's lightsaber, they're going to tell you,
no, you didn't.
No, that's not it. But if you said, hey, I was going for something close,
yeah, then
you can probably almost pass that off.
Yeah. But they like, the whole experience is like, you can choose like 2 handle parts. You choose from 2 different emitters. So there's 4 different handle parts that you can choose from. 2 different emitters, 2 different pommels, which is the end cap for anyone that knows about swords, which have different like belt clips and such attached to them. And then there's 2 different like activation switches, and you choose a theme and a style. They come around in this like very grandiose way with like these like containers that have all the different crystals in them lit up, and like, you get to choose your crystal from amongst all the others. So you get to choose purple, red, green, or blue. I picked purple because it's one of the less observed colors. It's akin to Sam Jackson as Mace Windu, and it's also got kind of this like, could be light side, could be dark side kind of a feel, like kind of this like in between.
Not to sound funny, but that actually fits you.
Yeah. I try really hard to be a nice guy, and then sometimes it just doesn't work out. Sometimes those buttons get pressed a little too repetitively, and then it's like, look here, and I kind of go off. So I picked something that I felt was more themed and a little more unusual, but yeah, purple seemed like that to me, to match me a little better at the time. But I also know that like, when you build your lightsaber, they sell additional lightsabers in a nearby shop called Doc Ondar's Den of Antiquities, and you can buy more colors. And like, and it's kind of the crazy thing is like, if you take your lightsaber apart, you can get back to the crystal and take the crystal out and then put in a different color crystal, and it will change the color of your lightsaber when you turn it on. So you can go and get a blue, a green, a red.
I will say, you took this thing apart in front of me, and my jaw dropped because it is insane.
It's impressive, like
how much work went into.
There's some design work that went in this.
Yeah.
So like the crystal sits like straight up. It's got a point, and it can rotate in place, and it's like it's impressive. It makes a sound when you put it in there. And then they have additional colors, which are like yellow, white, Or some other ones. I think there's not an orange, or not yet anyway. We can always add more, but like it was, but like I went there for for like the idea of purchasing some additional ones, and like I like the purple. I bought a white one, and I bought what I'll tell you is multiple red ones, because if for people that don't know, there is like a 1 in 10 chance of like getting a red crystal and there being a black crystal inside.
Ooh.
So like the black crystal comes with its own like little pamphlet, and it says like this is a very special crystal with infused with the dark side of the force and blah blah blah. So like it's an extra special like chance at wonderment. Like it's an extra little thing. Like it's kind of like a gimmick to sell more crystals, but also kind of not, because every crystal has something in it. I'm sure it's like some sort of like, you know, ICF chip or whatever. Is that the term? It's not ICF. It's
Well, there's that. I guess NFC.
NFC chip. That's the word. Some sort of NFC chip in it. So like it talks to whatever device it is that it's put into. And Doc Onder's Den of Antiquities also sells holocrons, like Sith or Jedi holocrons, which for layman's, holocrons are repositories of knowledge and trainings and teachings that a Jedi made and created and then locked away for, you know, to be enjoyed by, you know, generations of Jedi to come, like stuff that they've learned and stuff that they've referenced and their thoughts on the Force and whatever. And so I got one of those, and every crystal has a different character like attached to it. So like, and it'll also respond differently. Like if you put it into a Jedi holocron, like you'll get Yoda. If you put it into a Sith holocron, you'll get Vader or the Emperor or Darth Sidious or whoever. Like you'll get, and they'll have like phrases and wisdom and stuff from those characters. My purple one in a Jedi holocron does Mace Windu. I have not put it into my Sith holocron yet because I don't know what it is. So, in any case, like I brought you back a little gift of a red crystal container.
Oh.
And it's basically a lottery ticket for the chance of maybe getting a black one, like a black crystal. So I don't know what's in it. It has not been opened before, but I purchased 3 red ones, and I got 3 red crystals.
So this is a container. It's red in the middle and it has 2 silver ends.
Yeah, kind of like a fuse or a capsule of some sort.
Yeah. And so I am to open this. This is pretty cool.
Yeah. So
it looks like I can put like a hook or something on it.
There's a spot at one of the ends for like a lanyard. So if you want to run like a cord through it and wear it as a necklace or put it on the chain or, you know, have it be jewelry or decorative in some way, put it on. I was thinking of maybe putting one of them on my backpack that I take to Galaxy's Edge. You know, like kind of have it hanging from there.
Kyber crystal. Nice.
Kyber crystals.
This is awesome. So I'm going to open it now just because I'm not a suspense kind of guy. And it is a red crystal.
It is a red crystal.
Nice.
Well, congratulations on your red crystal, but it is not a chosen black crystal.
No, but that's okay, though, because it's still a red crystal.
Yeah.
Which means I'm closer to having my own Sith lightsaber, which I can, put together and then start my reign of terror across the galaxy. Is that how it works?
I think that's a step of it. Yeah, like that's
I appreciate
one of the steps.
this, man. Thanks.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
But like it'll interact with a bunch of different stuff around the park and stuff you purchase, like holocrons and lightsabers, and it changes the colors and it talks to you, and like you'll probably hear it whispering to you tonight, like evil evil stuff to go to.
If you see some weird stuff happen on the news in Florida, you'll know that this thing possessed me.
That's every day in Florida. There's always some weird shit happening in Florida. So
that is true.
That's nothing new.
One of those news stories could be me.
Yeah.
You never know. This is cool.
So
all right. So this interacts with the lightsaber, I can also put it in the holocron. So I see your holocron. I dare not speak of what's on in the case under the holocron because I saw what was in that case, and it's almost like the briefcase in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Like you open it,
It's just this glowing thing you can't even look
but
directly at.
I'll
it.
let you speak on that.
So Doc Ondars, not only they sell what they call relics of the past. So there's lots of Jedi robes. Like you can buy the Emperor's cane, you can buy Yoda's cane, you can buy a number of memorabilia. Like you can buy the insignia rank for Imperial officers. Like you can buy that kind of like patch badge kind of thing. They sell patches and statues and like old Jedi or Sith obelisks, and they sell replicas of like Vader's castle and a bunch of other like unique and interesting things. And then there's the counter. Now the counter, when we were there, had a line like almost all day. And the line was up to 60 minutes at one point. Now this 60
Wait, 60? 60 minutes.
60 minute a 60-minute line, and this line leads to this counter inside Doc Ondars to buy what they refer to as legacy lightsabers. Now these are official, like high quality, come in a very nice like unique box that is a replica of a particular character's lightsaber. So they have some that were there for a long time. They had some limited release ones that they don't know if they're going to get back. But I picked up two. I brought one today, and it is Luke Skywalker's green lightsaber. Or a la Return of the Jedi, and I guess you did see it in The Last Jedi in flashbacks.
Yeah.
But I don't think you saw it anywhere else. But that particular lightsaber, because that was the one that always kind of eluded me, but I always thought was like one of the nicest.
Was it in the flashbacks of Rise of Skywalker?
I don't think so. Nope. I don't believe it was.
Okay.
Oh no, yes it was in the flashback when Luke is training Leia.
Yeah, that's what I was.
That's the one time when you see it. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's got a 3-movie run, whereas the Anakin Skywalker lightsaber has a 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9 movie run.
Jesus.
No, seven movie.
Seven, yeah.
Yeah, 7 movie run, because it's missing Jedi and Phantom Menace is the only 2 movies it's not in.
Mm-hmm.
But they sold Mace Windu's. They have some of the characters that are only from the cartoons, which is like Ahsoka Tano and Asajj Ventress. They have Darth Maul's, but they sell it as a single blade. But if you buy 2 of them, it comes with a connector to connect the second piece to make the lightsaber staff, the double-bladed lightsaber. Asajj Ventress also sells that way. Hers are like curved handles, and they connect in a slightly different way, but that also does the same thing. So they're trying to make like screen accurate stuff. I bought Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader's. Darth Vader's is, it's a beautiful piece. It's like a really nice piece. But these do not have the interchangeable crystals or whatever. They're more meant to be screen accurate and such. They have Mace Windu's. They have Ben Solos. I think they still had Ben Solos. They do not have the Rey rebuilt lightsaber, like the one with like the scorch marks to weld it back together with the leather wrap. That was a limited release, and they were out of that one. They had Episode 2 Obi-Wan Kenobi's, which they said was the lightest of them. It's the lightest lightsaber, like as far as weight goes. They also had Mace Windu's, and they said
they're remarkably light.
Yeah, they're remarkably light but sturdy still.
Yeah.
Mace Windu's, which we held, was extremely heavy. That's just because Sam Jackson's a couple of terms that we can't really use.
BAMF.
BAMF. Yeah. So They were impressive. They were nice. They were really nice. I had to stop myself at 2 because I would have just sat there and I'm like, yeah, I'll take that one and that one and that one and that one and that one. And I like my house is already kind of full of memorabilia. Like I've mentioned it
Yeah, but
before. Like
this,
I really have starships hanging from the ceiling in my office. Like I have to mitigate space for this stuff. This has all been fun and worth it.
yeah, but these are jewel pieces, though.
Yeah, these are crown jewel kind of top end pieces for it. So we did these, and then we walked around. We did food. The Ronto wrap is amazing. It's an extremely good like dinner piece. Or lunch piece. It's a very satisfying kind of like sausage dog that's also wrapped in pork and a peppercorn sauce and like a coleslaw that's like tangy. It was really good. My wife liked it. She got one. Let's see. there's so much that we were doing. We did droid building. Droid building was also another experience. Like,
And the droid building is actually why we probably have to have a second part to this, and it'll probably be after I go. But we can't fully experience the droid part of this.
I forgot to bring the remote control with it.
But that's okay because it gives us something to look forward to in when we revisit this.
Yeah. So the droid depot, me and my wife and I both said that this was the most chaotic piece of nonsense in this whole park, because you go in, like, first of all, the droid building has a wait. And this, like, when we had a reservation for this, we planned it online, like put in a reservation for this date for us to go both build a droid. I built an R unit. She built a BB unit. My droid's name is Rebo, R3B0. So we haven't solidified a name for our BB unit yet. But we're getting there. But the line for this was 100 minutes to build a droid for the standby.
Wow.
And then
Probably worth it though.
but we walked in and there's people running back and forth. There's kids screaming. There's literally stuff hanging from the ceilings moving around on a circle. And so like when you get through and get your reservation piece, you go up to the line and there's just a conveyor belt full of droid parts, and they have a basket for you, and it's like you need this many parts. So you have to pick up this many parts off the conveyor belt and match colors and pieces and connections and all this other kind of stuff to get a droid built for yourself. And then you take it and you go to like one of the engineers and they kind of walk you through doing stuff. They actually have like a electric screwdriver on like a cord, like a zip cord that you pull down to drill some of the legs and head and stuff and attach them. Then they put it into a box and with the remote control, and then pair it. They activate it for you, turn it on. But like this was like a chaotic, crazy little piece. It was bizarre to walk into because there's a lot of places in Galaxy's Edge that are calm and cool and quiet and easy, and this was not none of those things. Like it's just it's if you imagine episode 1 and the pit droids running around and screaming and bouncing off of stuff.
Is it by design or is it just because
I have no idea. I have no idea. It's hard to spend time in there because it's very crowded. There's a lot going on, and like it's kind of like get in, get your thing, and then like okay, look for accessories for stuff, and then you're out because you're like it's so much, it's so fast. But our droids are great. They're Bluetooth enabled. They'll go around the park and bebop and boop and do stuff around the park. Like they'll be afraid. You can buy personality chips for them to make them sound. To make them sound different. Do different things. We got 2 of them because they'll talk to each other. So like if we leave them on, they'll every couple of minutes they'll bleep and gloop back at each other and make noises, turn their heads and stuff. It's fun. It's a fun, well designed little toy, companion to have. And like when you get on different rides and stuff, he'll make different noises for what he's out and going and doing and saying and stuff. So, and then there's that, and then I don't know if how condensed you want this episode to be, but like there's the cantina, and that's a whole nother experience. I could spend probably 30 minutes talking about the cantina on its own.
Well, all right. So here's what we'll do. We're going to commit to hitting up the cantina, and I'm sure there's even more than that.
There's all kinds of side shops and stuff that I can talk about. Yeah,
Yeah.
There's a lot. There's a lot.
I'm definitely planning on going to this place, and we'll revisit that definitely the cantina. By that point, I should have my own lightsaber.
We'll duel out in the backyard.
I'm just looking off into space right now, just thinking of it.
Yeah. And now you've got a red crystal, so now if you were thinking of getting a red crystal, you can pick a different one.
Yeah.
You can pick, a different
I'm just floored by the
feeling.
fact that, like, there's so many lightsabers out there that you can buy that are replica hilts, and this one is like you take out the,
Yeah.
you're actually messing with a kyber crystal, so you get that lightsaber feeling.
Yeah. It's fun. It's a lot of, there was some engineering that went into a lot of this, and it's impressive. So, yeah.
So
We're already planning on going back again. But yeah, it's, again, like it was a religious experience. Like it was a fun, we spent 2 days there, and I could not tell you where the time went. Like it was so, like I was so happy just walking around and interacting. And my wife got harassed by some stormtroopers. Like she went in Leia buns, and like she went to the bathroom, and while I was standing in line for something, and then she came back, and she was wanting to get back to me because she didn't want to miss the thing. It was the lightsaber that we were in line for, and she didn't want to miss like getting into it. So she kind of took off through the park, and the stormtroopers saw her and saw that she was dressed in character, and were like, "Hey, stop there!" And then she just kept going because he's like, "I don't want to miss it." And they followed her to the line,
God.
to the line, and they're like, "Hey, don't you know how to follow orders? Where's your identification?" And here, me being like the over the top kind of guy, I made like identification cards. Like I made them in Word, in Arabic, like the Star Wars language. Printed them out. Like I put them in some like display cards that are like for like price tags and stuff. Like put a piece of tape on them and like made them up. But like, hey, here's not a legit. Sorry, wrong word. Like a themed identification card for a stormtrooper who asks you for identification, and she was able to pull this identification card out and show it to him. And if a stormtrooper could have a look on his face when he sees it, they kind of like look at that, and they're like, if the helmet's eyes could move like a Spider-Man, like you would see one eyebrow go up and one eyebrow go down.
I did not expect this.
And they're just kind of surprised by it. And they were like, "Is this a thing? Like what?" And they have their response was, "You expect us to believe that's you?" And they're like, "Look, you need to follow instructions. Like, but we're getting recalled back to base. Like, but we've got our eye on you." And they're like, "Oh, that's so cool. This is very fun." So people that are out there to like, it's okay to be an adult and to go out and play. Like, this is the thing. You can go out and play and have fun.
Especially in the sandbox that you've been idolizing for pretty much your whole life.
Yeah, I mean, like 12 years old, like a little bit. So 9, 10, probably about 10, 11 years old. Like whenever the year, like, so Jurassic Park came out, and I was like, "Oh, this movie's great." And I had not seen Star Wars by that point, and then found out Steven Spielberg, and then like shortly after that, I found Indiana Jones. And then Star Wars, and I was just like mind blown. I went from there. So yeah, for most of my cognitive life, I've been a Star Wars fan.
Yeah, I know my dad took me to see Return of the Jedi when I was like 6.
Yeah,
and I was like,
Return of the Jedi came out the year I was born, I think.
I was 3 when it came out, but he had me see this movie, and I was just like, what the?
Yeah, exactly. You've got lightsabers and blasters and creatures in sand pits and Ewoks and Darth Vader and lightning coming out of people's hands and explosions and spaceships. Like, there's a lot.
Spoiler alert. Haha, no,
There's
I'm
a lot.
I'm just kidding.
If you haven't seen a movie in 40 years, like a 40-year, I think is a good spoiler section where it's like, look,
Yeah, we can't say too soon now.
you can't spoil anything past 40 years. So, and
You get to see Darth
Anyway.
Vader's face.
yeah, exactly. So, but no, it was a great time. It was a great experience. Yeah, my wife and I loved all of it. We had a great time. Like, here's another thing is, like, she's back. Like, she was like, oh, I can take a break now, but she's back looking for like hotels for our next time. Like,
Jesus.
scheduling. Like, she's like, I'm ready to go back. I'm like, I was ready to go back when we got home. I was like, oh, where's the droids walking around and stuff? Like, that was another thing. Like, they have, okay, so all the drink carts have an astromech unit on the end of them, and the astromech drives the drink cart around. So, like, all the places where you buy like sodas and stuff are navigated by a droid. Now, like, realistically, the person who's running the cart probably controls them with like a little remote control, but they look like they're driving themselves. Or the droid is driving the drink carts. It's super fun to watch. Super fun.
Disney's always had a flair for that, for immersion.
They have, yeah. It's been impressive. It's been I'm very impressed. I'm surprised that this park, like, in the beginning, got kind of poo-pooed on. They're like, oh, it's just a place to buy stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but what stuff to buy?
But you know
Holy
what?
cow.
And that actually will segue to another episode that we're going to be doing, talking about just hater culture in general. But yeah, no. If you give me a park that's just Star Wars themed and accurate, you probably deserve to make money.
Probably. Yep. I know I loaded my credit card onto my phone and I was just like, bloop, yeah, just okay, pay it, bloop, pay it, yep, I'll get that too. Bloop. Like, it happened.
Yeah.
So,
Well, this has been the End of a Species podcast on Adam's trip to Galaxy's Edge. Really wanted to have a discussion about that because, man, I want to go there. And so we will see you on our next episode. I am Jeff.
I am Adam. You can find me on Instagram at Tatooine Hermit. Jeff.
I am on Twitter, Zeus, letter N, Jeff. And we will see you next time.
Peace out. And may the force be with you.